welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Travis. I am an attorney located in California, and I've been practicing law for about 10 years. Today, I want to talk to you about Chapter 7 Bankruptcy. So, as you may be aware, there are different types of bankruptcy named after various chapters in the US Bankruptcy Code. You've got Chapter 7, Liquidation, Chapter 9, Municipality Bankruptcy, Chapter 11, Business Reorganization, Chapter 13, Individual Consolidation and Repayment Plan, and Chapter 12, Family Farmer or Family Fisherman Reorganization. So each chapter is designed for a particular type of debtor and seeks to accomplish a particular set of goals. So you should understand these different forms of bankruptcy, weigh the pros and cons of each, and then decide which one makes the most sense for you. Today, I want to focus on Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is the most common type of bankruptcy for individuals. In this video, I will talk about what Chapter 7 is, the pros and cons of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I will take you through the process and timeline of filing a Chapter 7, and I will also talk about what types of properties you may risk losing in a Chapter 7, and also what types of debts you can expect to eliminate in Chapter 7. So let's begin. So what is Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Well, in short, it is a court proceeding that results in the elimination of debts that you cannot pay. The purpose of Chapter 7, or indeed of any kind of bankruptcy proceeding, is to give you, the debtor, a fresh start. And in return, you may lose some of your assets. I say may because in 96% of cases, filers don't lose anything. They get to keep all of their assets. And then lastly, the whole process of Chapter 7 takes about 4 to 6 months. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of Chapter 7? Well, the most substantial advantage is that it discharges most, if not all, of your debts. The second advantage is that it stops all collection activities immediately. And then thirdly, it is relatively fast. Like I said, in most cases, it takes about 4 to 6 months. So what are the disadvantages of Chapter 7? Well, there are a number of them. First and foremost, a bankruptcy proceeding will stay on your credit report for up to 10 years. Although, curiously, bankruptcy doesn't always lower your credit score. If you have a good credit score before bankruptcy, then most likely your credit score will decrease after bankruptcy. However, if you have poor credit score before bankruptcy, your credit score will likely increase because after bankruptcy, you will have fewer debts to pay. Another disadvantage of bankruptcy is that as soon as you file, your credit card companies will cancel all of your cards, and you may have difficulty qualifying for new ones after bankruptcy. Similarly, you may have difficulty qualifying for low-interest loans or mortgages after bankruptcy. In addition, you run the risk of losing property in bankruptcy, although, like I said, in most cases, people don't lose anything. However, if you have any expensive possessions, such as a second home, a boat, or luxury cars, more likely than not, you will lose them in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And lastly, bankruptcy is a matter of public record. So after bankruptcy, all of your relatives and friends, your current and future employers and clients will be able to access that information. Who is Chapter 7 designed for? Well, Chapter 7 is designed primarily for low-income individuals who don't have a lot of asset, and specifically individuals who have little to no equity in their homes. Well, let me explain. Chapter 7 has an income threshold over which you will not qualify to file Chapter 7. Generally speaking, if your income is less than the state median for a household of your size, then you will qualify, although there are exceptions. I say that it is designed for people with very few assets. This is because the more assets you have, the more likely you may lose some of those assets during Chapter 7. All right, so next, where do you file Chapter 7? Well, all bankruptcy proceedings are governed by federal law, and you have to file in a federal court, specifically the U.S. Bankruptcy Court serving the federal district where you live. And since bankruptcy is governed by federal law, the process is more or less the same from state to state. So now we come to the crux of this video, and that is, what is the process and timeline of Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Well, the whole process starts when you file a petition in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. But before you file, actually within 180 days of filing, you have to attend a credit counseling course, and it must be from an approved credit counseling agency. So the day you file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the court immediately issues what's known as an automatic stay, which stops all collection activities for the duration of the bankruptcy proceeding. Essentially, the court presses the pause button on all of your debts. So during bankruptcy, during that 4 to 6 month period, no creditor can contact you about any of your debts. They have to stop those abusive and harassing phone calls, letters, but they cannot continue to sue you or start new lawsuits. They cannot garnish your wages. They cannot shut off your internet or electricity or water. They cannot foreclose on your home or repossess your vehicle, and your landlord cannot evict you. So everything comes to a stop as soon as you file Chapter 7. Please be advised that there are exceptions to this automatic stay. For instance, your alimony and child support obligations will continue during bankruptcy. And if your wages are being garnished to pay for child support, that will also continue. Okay, so next the court appoints a case trustee who will oversee your bankruptcy case. So the case trustee's primary goal, and this is important, is to liquidate your non-exempt assets in a way that maximizes return for your unsecured creditors. So there's a lot to unpack there. So I think it's a good time to pull out the old Venn diagram. Okay, So in this diagram, it illustrates how the law sees your debts. Let's say this rectangle includes the universe of debts that you owe. And the law divides your debts into two groups: dischargeable debts and non-dischargeable debts. So as the name indicates, non-dischargeable debts cannot be discharged or eliminated in Chapter 7. So what are some examples of non-dischargeable debt? Well, tax, for example, alimony, child support, government fines or penalties like speeding tickets, student loans, your employees' wages if you own a business, your HOA fees. So these debts you cannot erase with Chapter 7, and you will continue to be personally liable for them after Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Let's talk about dischargeable debts. As the name suggests, these debts are dischargeable, can be eliminated or erased in Chapter 7. And the law separates dischargeable debts into two groups: secured debts and unsecured debts. So secured debts are guaranteed by a collateral, meaning if you default on a secured debt, the creditor has the right to repossess or foreclose on the collateral. Examples of secured debts are your mortgage or your car loan. Unsecured debts are debts that are not guaranteed by a collateral. Some examples of unsecured debts are your credit card debt, your medical bill, old utility bills, or any kind of personal loan. Okay, so with those new terms in mind, let's go back to the bankruptcy process.